this is the video, and today I'll be showing you how I created this card, creating a focal wreath just by using a different coloured ink and embellishing it more than the others. The other wreaths around the outside add a lot of interest, but they do not pull any attention away from this area here. To start with, I'm going to be using this set from Winnie and Walter, and this is Happy Christmas, and I'm going to be using this beautiful wreath stamp here. I've already added it to my block. Sorry, my block is a bit messy. And I'm going to be using a dark green to stamp the focus wreath that we have. So I'm going to ink this up, adding the ink to the stamp. And then I'm going to stamp it into position, but going slightly off my card. So I'm having it there. And I'm pressing it down firmly, and I have my focus wreath into position. Once I have my focus wreath in position, I'm then going to stamp. I've cleaned off my stamp, and then I'm then going to stamp the other wreaths around it, but in a really light grey ink. This will give some interest to the background, but it will also mean that the focus wreath is the focus of the card. So first I'm just going to stamp this one down, and then I'm going to stamp around this wreath here. So again, inking up and then stamping. So I will cover this whole piece in with these wreaths. So I've now covered the whole piece. I've stamped these ones around the wreath first, and then I've added some to the side pieces to make it look like it's a full sheet of paper. So I'm then going to add on some little berries. I've used the Happy Christmas set again, and I'm just using these berries here, and I'm going to be using a dark red ink. So I'm just going to stamp these into position around my wreath. So I'm just going to keep stamping these into position around my wreath, so it looks like little berries. Once I've stamped my berries, I've just taken a dark green pencil, and I'm just going to add flicks of colour to the green leaves of the focus wreath image. So I'm just going to go around these, not being too careful, just making sure that I add some colour to each and every one of these green stamped leaves. I'm then ready to add my sentiment. I'm using an archival ink, as this is the darkest black ink that I think I own. So I'm going to add this into position in the centre of my wreath. At this point you can have it this way around or this way around. I think for this card I'm going to go with this way, and I'm going to stamp my image, my sentiment, into the centre of the focus wreath. To add more attention to the sentiment, I'm going to then ink up the same stamp again with some Versamark ink. Stamp it over the top, and then add some clear embossing powder over the top to make this black darker. Stamped it down again. I'm then going to take my clear embossing powder and sprinkle it over the top. Remove the excess embossing powder, give it a tap, and then heat emboss it. So to add my stamped card layer to my card, I've added some foam tape to the back, and I'm just adding this to my card blank, leaving a even edge of white around the outside edge of the card blank. After getting to this stage on my card, I wanted to add a bit more to it, a bit more fun. So I've taken the Essentials Noel cutaways, and I've taken this little bow that comes in the set, and I've cut this out 3 times out of red card. Well, I've cut a full image and 2 of the top pieces because I want to make this into a dimensional bow. Okay? Make it into a dimensional bow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these top pieces and I'm going to cut the tails off. So I have a piece that will just sit on top of there. I'm going to shape this before I place it down. So all I'm doing is I'm curling it in my fingers just to give it a bit of a lift. Okay, I'm going to add this on to the full image with a little foam pad. You may need to cut the edges off these as they may be a bit large, but I'm going to try that anyway. And I'm just going to pop it down on top of that one. So for this third one here, I'm going to cut off the tails like before, making sure it's a bit more rounded than the last one that I've just done. And then I'm also going to cut off the loops. So I'm just left with the knot part of the bow. Once I was happy with my knot shape, I've added a tiny little foam pad to the back, and I'm going to place this on top of my bow here. And that gives us a really fun dimensional bow. Before I add this to my card, I'm then going to tease out these areas a little, bend them up a little, and add another foam pad to the back to add it to my card. And I'm just going to place this on to the side. There we go. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I really hope you try out this card. It's really fun and great for creating those bulk cards that you need to make at Christmas time. Thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful day.